I'm in the green room and things. It is. Where's my phone? Yeah. So that means I don't know what the date is. I don't know what the date is. Yeah, I think it's the second of the second month of love. Your lovers are gonna be out there doing your thing in the next 12 days, I believe, the 14th of February. But it is the Slyso TV podcast episode, it's season 2, episode 24. A lot of interesting stuff that have taken place, but we're not going to focus on that. We are going to delve into some very beautiful and interesting stuff, conversations. Remember, this podcast is about us. Well, we entertain you with our craziness, but our real aim is to entertain and educate you. And today's episode is going to be more about education than anything else. Yes, we went crazy with or Abo in the last one, but on this one, we're definitely looking at some serious stuff. Okokuqala, into esizawuyenza, sizawuya kumcimbi. I call it the black coffee ruling. I call it the black coffee ruling. And I did say that we are going to have a guest, okay, somebody that we are definitely going to be talking about to break this down. Asichazele bethu into mana kwenzeke ntoni uvela kwathiwa hayi la mtshato ubunawo uphinde watshintsha. Yeah, so izinto zithande utshintsha kodwa umuntu uzawusicacisela ngayo yonke lento lena and put us at ease. If ikhona phofu into that's putting anybody at ease, Mbing.
Yeah,
First of all, good evening and welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, good evening, my brother. Thank you for having me. It's only a pleasure.
Yeah. Is there anything anybody can smile about as far as this ruling is concerned? All we know is that I think as South Africans is that there was the black coffee thing that had been coming along. And then while we're busy looking at that, then there was the ruling from the highest court saying that, like, let me know, ithini ithetha uthini ithini lento ibuya phaa kulaa nkundla yamatyala wena Mbinga?
Yeah. So, Slyso, firstly, let me just say good evening to all of your guests and thank you for having me. I'd just like to correct one thing. It's actually not the black coffee ruling, but I think because it's been the one that's been in the papers more than anything, a lot of people thought that it actually pertains to black coffee, but it actually is not about black coffee. It's another couple whose marriage might have repercussions for many other marriages, just like Eka Black Coffee, and also others that have been concluded by Abanduke, Abachatileyo, in the traditional sense, which is a customary marriage, as it's known. And also abantu ke ngoku abangayiconkludanga i-antenuptial contract, which is le contract lena bekufuneka uyiconkludile kunye nowakwakho phambi koba nitshate. So le ruling lena into eye yenzeka wena Slyso into yobana le couple balobolene ngo-2011 and then ngo-2019 baconcluda i-antenuptial contract, which is a contract ke whereby bebesithi no izinto zethu before sidibane izoba zezethu sizohlula, and then esiza nako during umtshato then oko sizakudibanisa ke ngoku sikohlule phakathi should ever umtshato wethu uphele. And apha eSouth Africa ke i-customary marriage in terms of Section 8 or a Recognition of Customary Marriages Act wohlulwa only yi-divorce, just like omnye umtshato kwi-civil wona wohlulwa either kukufa okanye ibe yi-divorce. So into eyenzeka is that batshatile ke ngo-2022, and then njengoba izinto zithanda ukwenzeka, umtshato walasta ngo-2023, madam wadecide into
No
yobana
way. 2022, 2023.
batshatile ngokwasesilungwini ke ngo-2022. I-contract beyiconclude ngo-2019, and then ngo-2023 bathi hayi no, ngathi sanele ngoku. Well, utshilo kusisi, and then wa-approacha inkundla ephakamileyo yasePitoli. Le case lena iphume ngoku apha eziphethelweni zikaJanuary. It's cited as a case ka-VVC versus JRM. Inkundla usually to protect the-identity zabantu kwi-matters ezisensitive olu hlobo. In fact, i-matters ezinvolva nabantwana sometimes basebenzisa ii-initials zenu just to make sure into yobana i-privacy yenu bayayiprotecta. So into ebingamandla wena Slyso into yobana uSection 167 subsection 5 no-Section 172 subsection 2 we-Constitution okanye umgaqo-siseko walapha eSouth Africa uthi once inkundla ithi umthetho okanye umthetho wephondo okanye i-conduct ye-president i-unconstitutional, then law order leyo ayibina-effect unless i-constitutional court yona inika istampu ithi ewe hayi no benirayithi ngokuthi ayikho effective loo nto leyo. So kulapho ke ngoku i-constitutional court iye yadibana kunye nezi questions ebekufuneka iziphendulile. Owokuqala umbuzo, well, biyinto yokubana le section lena ye-Recognition of Customary Marriages Act, yokhumbula Slyso into yobana before u-15 kaNovemba 2000 imitshato yabantu abamnyama bingarecognized apha eSouth Africa because bekusithiwa no, it's contrary to public policy, naso sonke esi silungu ke besithi it's contra bonus mores and all of those things. Because bekusekho izinto ezinjenge-marital power within umtshato wesintu. Umfazi bengakwazi ukwenza into ezithile without imvume yomyeni wakhe, ebengakwazi usayina i-will, ebengakwazi u-owna iproperty. So izinto njengoba zitshintsha ne-constitution yethu funeka ibe ihambe kunye notshintsho olenzekayo apha kuthi. So into eyenzeka is that uba i-High Court le lapha ePitoli iye yadicida into yokubana lo mthetho lona, which is Section 10 subsection 2 of i-Recognition of Customary Marriages Act, awukho semgaqweni. So into bebeyikhalela apho zimbini. Eyokuqala Slyso biyinto yobana lo mthetho lona uyadiscriminata against abafazi on the basis of igender yabo as well as on the basis of i-sex yabo. Therefore, uSection 9 we-Constitution obviously awuyivumeli indaba ye-discrimination. Awukwazi udiscriminata against umntu on the basis of i-age yakhe, on the basis of his sexual orientation, on the basis of age and all other factors as this particular section. And then any section ebeyikhalela bingu-Section 25 we-Constitution besithi le Section 25 lona basically uSection 25 uthi akho mntu uyoze aphucwe iproperty yakhe ongekho semthethweni. So bebefilisha into yokubana lo Section 10 subsection 2 we-Recognition of Customary Marriages Act uphuca especially abantu ababhinqileyo, which are the vulnerable people lapha kwi-society, of ilungelo labo to i-property. So i-Constitutional Court iye yathi ke ngokuyona into yobana asivumelani nale nto ithethwa yi-High Court. Umntu otshatileyo in terms of i-customary law, la Recognition of Customary Marriages Act, it ensures into yokubana laa mtshato in terms of i-customary law une-status esinye kunye nomtshato enterishwe kuwo in terms of i-civil law, which is the Marriage Act ka-1961. So apho ke ngoku Slyso into ethethayo ke ngoku inkundla ephakamileyo into yobana xa ufunda lo Section 10 subsection 2, Section 10 subsection 2 lona uthi into yokubana lo mtshato lona wenu ucustomary ngumtshato o-in community of property. So in other words, niyahlulelana kwindleko, niyahlulelana nakwi-assets zenu, nizidibanise zingene kwisitya esinye. So into ke ngoku ebithethwa into yobana ii-parties ezi ziyakwazi na uconcluda i-antenuptial contract ngoku besezitshatile in terms of i-customary law, and then lo antenuptial contract leyo ibe valid. Yathi i-Constitutional Court, ayikwazeki ukwenzeka loo nto leyo, ayikho njalo. So if ufuna utshata, and ke if uba ndingachaza nje msinyane, imitshato apha eSouth Africa ii-types zintathu. Uyakwazi utshata in community of property. Loo nto izothetha into yokubana yonke into niyayohlula phakathi, and then umtshato wenu basically ngu-50-50. And then ube khona ke ngoku umtshato o-out of community of property. Eyam yeyam, eyakho yeyakho. Le uze nayo izoba yeyakho, le uyisebenzeleyo izoba yeyakho, le ndiyisebenzeleyo izoba yeyam, nam nendize nayo phambi komtshato yeyam. And then lo wesithathu ke ngoku uba ngumtshato out of community of property but with i-accrual, which is what these parties eziye zayenza into yobana bathi endize nayo emtshatweni yeyam, oze nayo emtshatweni yeyakho, kodwa ke esikusebenzeleyo kunye sidibene izoba yeyethu, sayohlula phakathi. So those are basically the three types of marriages okwaziyo uziconclude apha eSouth Africa. But now into ke ngoku abantu abaninzi abangayiqondiyo into yobana phambi kobana utshate, in terms of i-customary law and also in terms of civil marriage, you have to conclude the antenuptial contract if awufuni utshata in community of property. So in other words, if nitshatile akwabikho contract eniyiconcludayo, i-antenuptial contract, then lo mtshato lowo automatically it's regarded as umtshato ka-50-50.
Customary.
Yes. So basically, customary marriage without an antenuptial contract, it's basically a marriage in community of property, which means into yobana nizokohlula phakathi should i-divorce yenzeke.
So into ethetha into yobana sorry Mama. So into ethetha into yobana kwa phambi kokuba
ndiyakuva, no, ungaqhubeka.
Yeah, into ethetha into yobana kwa phambi koba uthi heyi ndibhale ileta ndizawucela ompinga baye koodlamini, funeke nibe niqale with i-contract.
Yes.
Which is law in, which is law out, which is law accrual, yonke le nto.
No, kunjalo Slyso. Kodwa ke le nto lena iye complicate by enye into endizayichaza msinyane. Le antenuptial contract lena, obviously niyachaza phaa into yobana hayi thina i-marriage yethu i-out of community of property okanye i-out of community of property but with i-accrual. So once ningayenzi ke ngoku loo nto leyo, that would then mean into yokubana obviously automatically nitshate in community of property. However, even it's customary marriage yona itself irregulated by i-Recognition of Customary Marriages Act, which is subsection 3, which is section 3 subsection 1. Now kukho requirements for by customary marriage ukuze ibe recognized, which is ii-parties zombini, umyeni nenkosikazi yakhe to be, funeke ba-consente, and then ke ngoku lo marriage leyo also funeke inegotiatwe in terms of i-customary marriage, ne-celebration funeke be in terms of i-customary marriage, and also khona icase yakaFanti noBonto ethi into yobana ne-celebration lena funeke iifemeli zombini zibe khona ukuze lo customary marriage leyo irecognizwe. So i-customary marriage, once i-concludwe in terms of i-requirements zayo ezisetwe out phaa ku-section 3 lo bendikhe ndamkhankanya, then it's only then that you will basically have a valid customary marriage. And then low customary marriage layer would be in community of property, unless une accrual. So abantu baye babuze ke ngoku into yobana ke ngoku xa sowuzifumana ukule situation yento yokubana bungafuni utshata in community of property but sekwenzekile nantsi,
Yes.
niyitshintsha njani ke ngoku? Well, leyo Slyso wena i-regulator ngu-Section 21 we-Matrimonial Property Act or i-MPA ngamafutshane, which means into
Yeah.
yobana kuzofuneke nize ne-application e-court, usually draftwa by one of the parties. Law application is brought njengoba bendisitsho in terms of Section 21. Funeka uchaze phaa uba yintoni na isizathu ofuna utshintsha ngaso imarriage yakho from out of from in community of property to out or with accrual. And then ke ngoku funeka uchaze into yokubana ngobani na abantu endibakwelitayo, because usually kumtshato mos in community of
Mm.
property i-consent ye-spouse uyayidinga into yokubana phambi koba uyofuna indlu okanye uyobhayinda ii-assets zenu, because ezaa assets eziyana zifomisha ipati ye-joint estate yenu. And then ke
Mm.
ngoku chaze as well into yokubana akekho na omnye umntu wesithathu besides ii-creditors zenu ozothi abandakanyeke okanye ahlukumezeke as a result of le decision eniyithathayo yento yokubana nitshintshe umtshato wenu to one out of
Mm.
community of property or to one out of community of property but with the accrual system.
Yeah. Yeah, yaninzi impinga kodwa ndiyaqonda into yobana nomnye umntu kuba lukhona uloyiko is like, now I'm in this this situation, you know, ndizawuyenza njani le nto. Ewe, masithi ke mhlawumbi abantu bebevene, you know, into yobana like, you know, this is how we are going to approach it. But obviously, as we know and as we usually do, qala funeka uyovela ekhaya. You know, that's always, and there were no implications. It was the most respected thing phambi koba wenze nayo yonke into. But ngoku lo mthetho ubuya usithi kwa phambi kokuba ubhale ileta funeka ube uniqale nahamba nayosayina le nto. Yeah, let me just get to advocate and conclude, because we've got another pressing interview as well. Very beautiful city of Cape Town. I hope you guys Senikona. If you have questions, guys, please make sure that you put it on the comments. We are on the Slyso TV podcast, on the Slyso TV podcast channel on YouTube, the Slyso page on Facebook, and we are looking for those people to get us to broadcast the same podcast on TikTok as well. So make sure that you follow and you like us right now. So in conclusion, Advocate Hilita, what is your I don't know whether I'll be putting you on the spot, but what would you advise to people who had told themselves into yobana, hey jonga, ekuzafuneka ndistike nale mate ngoku ngoba ndisazi into yobana ekuseni ndinento zam, uyabona, and all of these things. But one thing that I like about it, and I think you know, the ruling took cognizance of, because it's from 1961, isn't it? So which means into yokubana ootata ebebesiya bayophangela eRhawutini, eKapa and all of that, umntu uphela enomnye unkosikazi. Now the one lo ulotyolweyo is the one who suffers. And I think I commend it for that, to finally recognizing the fact that like women have always suffered, because recognition had always been into yobana funeke ibe yindoda ehamba phambili to make sure that these things happen. So I think I really appreciate it for that. But just in conclusion, like what's the way forward for somebody who is in this predicament? Because I'd like to believe if you want to go back and change all of these things, it's going to be court processes, and I don't think they are very cheap.
Yeah. So into umntu endinofanele ndimcebise yona Slyso into yobana phambi kobana ulobole okanye uconclude i-customary marriage yakho, And the ruling has also made it clear in Dobana, once you conclude a civil marriage after a customary marriage, it does not necessarily mean ukuthi customary marriage yakho ke ngoku it falls away. You are married in the same way obutshate ngayo in terms of a customary law. So what I would advise abantu into yobana phambi kobana uyoconclude ilobola into yobana uconclude antenuptial contract if awufuni utshata in community of property,
In
and
community.
also if you want to exclude the accrual. So I think basically approach a lawyer who can basically conclude the antenuptial contract, and then the antenuptial contract yakho has to basically meet certain requirements. It must be done by a notary, as well as it must also be registered with the Register of Deeds within 3 months after it's been concluded.
All right. Is there somewhere you can point people at in terms of direction if they want to learn more about or Lomtet, or and how people can resolve it? Like any information, any literature, or any the papers that are out there that or or even a website where they can just go to and find out
Yeah.
more about.
I think okwangoku, what I can do is maybe just share that information, and then maybe you can post it on your timeline. Um, However, I mean, look, there are quite a number of rulings. For instance, the Constitutional Court. So maybe having a look at the judgment, the recent judgment, your Constitutional Court, will actually give you a history of a constitutional, basically literature that's come before, because there were many other cases that dealt with customary marriages. Off the top of my head, ukhona umtshato kaSithole, and then ukhona uGumede versus the President of the Republic of South Africa. But I mean, I can share all of that information.
Okay, cool. So what we will do is obviously once I mean, it's live now, people can watch and it will be available immediately. I know that it's not necessarily your specialty, right? Or I don't know what you need as lawyers. I know that I got you out of your comfort zone and where you are actually specializing, and you promise that you're going to read through the ruling, and you will come back and explain it to us. So obviously we can't put your details out there. So please, guys, do not bother advocate Hilita with your issues. So, but what we will do is we'll give you those links to where you can find more information when you can get all of that. Good advocate, I want to say thank you very much for affording us this time. I know that it was short notice when I asked, and you said, listen, I know and I think it, but I need to make sure that I come with credible information, unlike the stuff we're getting from
Only a pleasure, Slyso.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. That's Advocate Xolisa Hilita, ladies and gents. Esichazela into yokubana kuqhubeka ntoni kanye with this court ruling. Into yokubana, well, ayisuki naku-black coffee, this thing. It doesn't even come from Indoga Black Coffee. It's a by the by yona. Into eqale kwakudala kodwa ke i-ruling ibe yilondo. Excuse me. And actually, that enye yezinto ezibalulekileyo for me, it has been the fact that it, after all of these decades, it comes back to look out more than anybody else for abantu abangomama aba bazawushiywa phaya emakhaya, utata aphinda benomzi ngapha, athathe imali ebeyisebenzela apha ahambe ayoyinika ukhwapheni okanye unkosikazi wesibini without. So it's one of the things that it actually was looking at. So we say thank you very much for that explanation. But now we move on, ladies and gents. We are going to get to Donald Trump and Trevor Noah. We are going to get to Jay-Z and Jay-Z. Jay-Z, the rapper, and Jay-Z, the former president, being implicated in all kinds of Epstein and all those things a little bit later on. And also very beautiful, coming up on the 4th of February, which will be a Wednesday. The price of petrol is going down. There are a couple of things, but Right now, it is time for me to move all the way from Pretoria and go and fly over to one of my favorite cities in South Africa, which is Cape Town, Kapstad, depending where you come, which part that you come from. And today, Tashai Simmons is my guest, and we're going to be talking something very close to my heart. People who know me, they know I adore young people. I adore the progressive and, like, I don't want to use the word eclectic, but like people who live in the now. So when I looked at this project, and when it was brought to me, I was like, I love the fact that like it gets us to live like young people. It's calling for energy and all kinds of things. Tashai, let me say good evening to you and welcome to the Slyso TV podcast.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. It really is an honor.
Thank you very much for your patience. We just had to deal with that, before people go to call through all kinds of stuff. That's drama, right?
It's
As
it
if we
is
don't have enough.
it is, yeah.
Wow. The studio. I'm gonna keep telling our viewers who you are, what your background is, but I'm just too excited about this project, the studio. I come from a radio background and music background. So when you say studio to me, assuming it means I'm going to record or I'm going to be behind the microphone. The studio in Cape Town, a very beautiful project of people that came together. And I think what I love most about it as well is that it's a group of entrepreneurs, qualified people in their chosen spheres or careers. And they said, listen, hey man, instead of a person going to Kloof and the other one is going to Kems Bay and the other one is going to another place to find what is the studio? I'm a
The
layman
studio
now.
is literally Alice in Wonderland. I it is 100 different things. So I'm going to give you a lowdown. It is a creative hub of passionate creators and teachers and educators who want to make the world a more creative place, not just for people who will be good at it, but for everyone, because we believe that creativity is a right, it's not a privilege. So we work with kids and adults, as young as 2, as old as we're not supposed to mention. However old you are, you can try 48 things in a week there and just live life to the full, because that's, I feel, what creativity is. We are meant to be creators, not consumers.
Wow. Just in it's I know politicians will go, it's the amalgamation of the different people from different backgrounds. When I looked and I went onto the website, by the way, it's www dot the studio. You finish?
Z- the studio is za.co.za. That second ZA is important.
It's very, yeah, because that's what when I looked at. That's why I'm like, okay, cool. Just in case I'm getting it wrong, it better be her.
All good.
Because these are professionals from different. Because I'm looking at there's art, there are events, there are robotics, there are all of these things that come together. And I think one of the things, once again, that I appreciate is that like they're not just directed at young at kids that are growing up. Like it's almost like a radio station that I work for, which is Cradle to the Grave, and all of this trying to get people active, trying to get people to resolve whatever it is. In terms of the formation, like who came together with who, and what was the primary objective? I mean, given that South Africa and where we live in the gig economy, right?
Yeah.
Where collaboration is very important, and you guys have done it very beautifully. I don't know if you can speak to that.
Yeah, so originally in 2020, I lost my job as a performance and visual arts teacher, like most most creatives did. And I started teaching in people's homes with a mask on my face. I had 2 students to start with, but because I refused to give up on creativity at a time where everyone kind of pulled back and was worried about the economy, I'd already lost my job. So I had no risk further that I wasn't willing to take. Here I was, no job, right in the middle of COVID. By the end of the year, I had 38 kids that I was teaching just by myself. And from very young, I've been a collaborative heart. I feel like the more we can do together, the faster we grow. I don't believe in a life of lack. I don't believe that lack exists. I feel like we create it in our minds. And so creating is not in order for other people to even consume. Creating is an act of living for us. And so how this came to be is at the end of the first year, I'd gone from 2 students to 38. And here's the
Wow.
robotics. Robotics is one of our partners that are partnered with us, that also are there on Fridays from Kids Innovate Africa, so one of the ones that are with us. But initially, it was an investor that found me and said, okay, we are now going from 2 to 38. If I can back you with a venue for 6 months, can you find other people like you willing to run this? By then I was teaching dance, drama, music,
Oh.
and I love everything all at once, but I can't teach more than the hours I have in a week. So I found a bunch of absolute crazy humans, because it takes someone that is absolutely to sit on a Zoom call with me and be like, hey, so this doesn't exist yet. We also don't have a building. We'll sign the lease in January when you start, and then we're gonna just come together and we will build the place. We will finance it. We will make sure it's got
Oh.
and soundproofing, and I want you to bring what you're great at, because I don't want our teachers locked down with admin and scheduling and things that are going to annoy me anyway, because that's not what they're meant for. We want people to be working on their strengths. That the creative people push their master's degrees in music, and the office people are able to maintain in this beautiful, truly South African way of accountability loops. Everyone just kind of working together in a space to bring fruitfulness and creativity to the world, and it's been beautiful.
Wow. In terms of like who takes part in this? I'd like to believe that like there's an aftercare aspect of it. Where I think like just thinking about the project, it just brings back all my childhood memories, like a place where I can get in and just, okay, for this afternoon, I just want to play with clay. I want to create clay
That's
pots. Today, I want to do art. Today, I want to dance. Who's targeted here? Who's
I think that's what's beautiful here, and this is why it's also so hard to almost have a conversation about it, because we are not a business for clients. We are literally based on needs. So we're also forever switching. We wanted a play area because we saw that the second sibling is always sitting annoyed, twiddling their thumbs, hoping to not be told off. And we started a party, an event side, because we understand that there are children that are already clients that need safe spaces to have cool interactive parties. Mine doesn't want to mess, but you can come make slime by us or come paint stuff by us. And so it's really a for everyone thing. And I think at our heart is connectivity, because in the different sections we have in New Rising Arts Academy, which is our educational side, ages 2 until 72 can either do recreational, I want to come play some clay, or I want to make Team South Africa for singing. And we sent 27 for
oh.
Team, right? We can
What?
do
What?
adult section, which is canvas, clay, and rosé, which is aimed at people who are not creative. Because again, creativity is a right, not a privilege. It must be part of our life. So we run monthly events that don't feel like too much of a class commitment or I have to be an artist, where you can come paint and sip and I guide you, or you make clay and I guide you, or we design a custom label for a wine bottle that you get to apply. You just get creative in a space where you can
Wow.
converse.
Wow. I can see like just from Now, the art bottle, being in a region where there's winery going on, and if there's a charity event, then that means that we are like, it's amazing. Okay, your brain, I
Connecting.
understand. And why that and I understand why it's set up the way it is. I remember one of my mentors at some point, Oputsai. This is a guy who was a consultant for big corporations, and he was
Yeah.
making so much money. And at some point he comes to me and he says, like, and we have this conversation, and he says to me, you know what's like, other people go to Disneyland, other people go to to Dubai, and all of these countries to take their holidays. And he said that, like, listen, what I do, I go to China every time I have a break. And I was like, China? This was like early mid 2000s. I'm like, China? It wasn't even a big thing. He's like, no, listen, wisdom is everywhere. What you get in China are spaces, like they've got too many parks, and in these parks they don't send their kids to what do they call it, daycare. They just go and have their kids like at the park. There are elderly people which become responsible for these young kids that are here, and all they're doing is giving them Chinese culture. If there's a group of kids that playing on the merry-go-round, they're not gonna play the whole day. They take a break and then they start talking to them, sharing about the culture, sharing about martial arts, whatever it is. So when I look at the studio, I find it to be that hub, that park that Uputsai was talking about, saying that you've got all of these people that are passionate, that have all of this knowledge and all of this wisdom that they want to share. Like in
Yeah.
Cape Town, I don't know whether I can learn where you guys are based and how people can get in contact with you, and to find out more about what you guys do.
It really is truly what you're saying. It is supposed to be a family hub. The whole feeling behind it is our house was the house where all the cousins were in the holidays. So because we lived by my grandma, and so all the cousins would come over, and my mom would paint with all of us, or then we'd all play in the mud, or we'd all, so you get like drawn into the space that becomes like family. And you should be able to drop your kids on Monday and basically fetch them on Wednesday. They have so much to do that they can just keep going and going with it. We're in Milnerton in Cape Town, and there's a running joke in Cape Town. Milnerton is about 20 minutes from anywhere, so you can make it. It's nice and close by. It's right near the beach. We are right across from a police station. And so it is a nice and accessible space, even for a few schools around us to be able to access what we do. And that actually brings me to a very important part of what we want to put in place. Our heart,
Hmm.
as you can hear, is connection, right?
Yeah.
Purpose first, and then the profit will follow. I truly believe that. If you can guide people into purpose, then passions will turn into paychecks. And I think a lot of artists, we're so stuck surviving that we're unable to start building. We're just kind of in a panic. And so the last project that we've been busy with now that we really want to push hard, and I want to call for people as far as Joburg to get involved because it is national. We are running an
Wow.
inter-school annual art competition and exhibition where schools are able to have children enter, and they keep a third of all the entry fees. So the schools themselves get to raise funds for their art department. And in the
Oh.
end, come to us, and we have an exhibition. Last 2 years it's been on Spear Farms, which is beautiful wine farms here. We're hoping for an even bigger venue this year that will link it to heritage overall. And I want some diversity. You've been on my website, you know that we don't just spout diversity. We have pink, black, blue, purple, gay, straight, old, young, everywhere in between. We have neurodivergent, neurotypical, people all over the spectrum, and we're hoping to draw more artists in. It costs nothing for artists to exhibit. or to request to exhibit. But in return, we do want to ask, if you are a corporate out there that wants to see the world change into a more creative space, if you're a corporate that understands that creativity pushes culture and culture again supports corporates, I want you to get involved. Let's push this. We're not looking for profit, but we need income to push our artists of South Africa to the forefront so we can start getting them from passion and wonderful passion, but all the way to paycheck so it can be sustainable to be creative in South Africa.
Tasha, that's part of part of what I wanted to ask you about. I remember I was driving, I think, to or from work. At some point today, I was commuting, and I came across a story about artists in Kimberley that had been, that have this annual theater piece that they do, which pays homage, I think, to a bus crash that has to do with Kosatu or something like that. And these people have been performing for free for all of this time, and the production house and government and all of the people that are involved, no one is taking responsibility. These artists are making a living. It was disheartening, to listen, and the guy is like, how am I going to motivate a younger kid that wants to get into art? It seems to be a problem to find commitment from government to actually invest in arts. Any assistance that you guys are probably afforded by government? And yeah,
Not
I know
quite
that's not for
yet.
the fly.
I do understand that as a young business, right? And especially as a creative business, it takes some credibility and consistency to come to the table. But here's my thing. We brought 2 years of consistency with almost zero budget, and we've brought it. We will share the links. You're more than welcome to share them on your side of our interactive art exhibition, how people can get involved. So now, as we build credibility, we're not even too madly yelling. We will again work with what we've worked with because that is what South Africans do, and we do it very, very well. But if we want to see a culture shift, if we want to see people start to honor the arts, then the money needs to be where our mouth is, and money speaks.
Yeah.
And so, if we are, as private people, going to get more involved with creative things, the government will need to turn an eye. And I think it's just, instead of going, hey, 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 it's us, it's almost just consistently planting trees in which shade we don't know if we're going to sit until they're under.
Mm. Wow, guys, Tasha Simmons, she's an arts educator, entrepreneur, neurodivergent. I learn new words every day. Like I was just one of those. I loved my poetry back in high school. It seems like it was the only thing I went to school for, because like my English marks, like when it comes to literature, I was like there. So I have this fascination with words. So I've come across a new word. I don't know what neurodivergent, fire starter, building something bigger than business.
Do you know
And I
what?
think the word, yeah, I beg
Do
your
you know what
pardon?
it is? Do you know what the neurodivergence is?
Neurodivergent. I probably
Neuro-
did, like, but it was probably before I passed out. So when I woke up, like I had forgotten what it means. But like I really would love for people to know as well.
A neurodivergence is people with a slightly differently wired brain. So we used to stigmatize it, like you think that people with autism automatically can't cope, or people with ADHD could never focus on anything. I am on both the ADHD and the autism spectrum, but I have such great coping mechanisms because of the love and the community and the connection I was raised in, that neurodivergence is a better word because it's divergent on purpose. We have hunters and farmer types. Farmers maintain and they grow and they keep everything steady and everything well, and hunters innovate and they build and they create and they push life forward. We need each other, and so it's not a even which kind of brain is better. It's just another beautiful way that diversity shines through in our country.
One thing I can promise you, viewer at home, is that we are definitely going to be friends with the studio, given the approach to life, given because obviously, as you say, you have a lot more projects coming up, and whatever assistance we can afford in terms of driving the message. I'm like, now I understand what neurodivergent means, girl, because I always have this thing when I sit with people. I'm like, you have to realize that there are people who invented, I think, was it the Wright brothers that invented the aeroplane?
Yeah,
There are people who, after that, who said, hey, what if this thing falls while it's up there, you know? And I'm sure a lot of people were like, ah, why are you being so negative? You know what I mean?
but they,
Then somebody said, hey, it will actually happen. And then somebody invented a parachute, that gets you down. So you're not really thinking, you coloring outside the book. And I think that's very beautiful. And I think it's a conversation that especially kids that are growing up right now, where everything is linear. You need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do that. And I think the younger generation, because they are exposed to the internet, because they are exposed to different cultures and stuff, so it probably creates a lot more people who are neurodivergent.
I think also just a lot, it's not even that a lot more are neurodivergent now. I think we have opened our eyes to the fact that it's not disabled and normal. There is such a beautiful large spectrum. So now you
Mm.
realize that awkward uncle of yours that was obsessed with cars, he's probably on the autism spectrum. It's all good. That auntie that could never sit still at anything, that could never keep her mouth shut, she probably had ADHD. It's okay. So now we're just learning about more of these things, and because they're not stigmatized, it seems like everyone is. I think we're opening our eyes, and it's beautiful. We're
Mm.
seeing everything now.
Wow. We're gonna come back because part of what is there is where the world is right now. We are talking AI, we are talking robotics, we are talking. I mean, all of these things at the end of the day. I remember, well, part of my research, and like somebody was like, "Yeah, but AI is going to do what you like do." But I'm like, you can never replace a human being. There is no way. We program
Yeah.
AI.
Mm.
It needs a particular way of thinking or approach, and we are going to get to a point where we need to remain ethical, remain creative, remain innovative. But all of these things need the human body. So what the studio does for me, it says paint, it says, whatever is on is on your head. I can talk a mile, man. My
Really
brain is
different. Our motto at the studio is move, create, express, play, connect. Move, create,
um
play, connect.
oh man. Tashai, I want to say thank you so, so much, but definitely we will not go past 3, 4 weeks without coming back and finding out what you guys are up to. I mean,
Amazing.
I'm going to make a very quick example. Advocate Hilita is a best friend, grew up together. He's in law, I'm in the media and entertainment space, but we've managed to maintain this friendship. We looked at investments, we looked at, creating businesses. His business, he has a glamping business. It
Oh,
started last year, around about the same time as our podcast, and we keep feeding off each other. So we've got friends of the Slyso TV podcast, and I want to say today, you guys, the studio in Cape Town becomes the friend of the Slyso TV podcast.
what an honor. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so lovely to chat.
Thank you so much. All the best. Whatever links I have for the people, I am definitely, as soon as I get off the pod, I will put those links so that people can go and learn more about the studio. But thank you so much. I wish you everything of the best. I can't wait to get down to Cape Town so I can play with some clay, so I can do a little bit of. Um,
Whatever you want.
Tasha, thank you so much. Have a pleasant evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Man, how beautiful is that? I told you this episode is about us doing nothing but learning predominantly. And we say thank you very much to our guest. The place is in Kapstad. I can't wait to get to Cape Town just so I can go and be a kid again. You know what I mean? Just so I can go and be a kid again. Yeah, so that's why the studio is gonna become. I'm sweating. I need makeup. I need makeup. I need an entire production company to help me with this. Can I see? Yes, I can. Yeah, I can see you too. Guys, it's time for us to wrap it up. Yeah, but I think that was beautiful in the next 2 minutes, so I can make it in a minute. Oh, can I? The stories are just crazy. There's this particular story that I wanted to share that I want to share with you. Oh my gosh. This is a story. Reveal Jacob Zuma intimate dinner with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, with that story, they say a lot of things. So, Jacob Zuma had taken an official visit to, is it Buckingham? Yeah, I think it is Buckingham Palace, meeting the royals and everything. And in the midst of all of that, um, Jeffrey Epstein, Jay-Z, Jacob Zuma says, hey, man, Jeffrey, wangikhumbula ubaba kaduduzane phela mfethu uyazi yini ufuna nje ukuthi sibe mnandi after the dinner with the royals yabona they are uptight. And Epstein was like, yo, the email is out there on social media platforms. I'm not even going to go over that, but it is there. Apparently, he hooked up with a Russian model and things were explained. You know, you need to make Obaba feel. Then Jay-Z, I don't have the picture. So Jay-Z, Jacob Zuma, as well as the other Jay-Z from the United States of America. Okay? And that, I cannot, as well, I'll be like, am I justifying the fact that like rappers had this reputation of being this yo, I can get any girl I want, I can be at a pool party, be on a jet going off to a secluded island, and that would be Jeffrey Epstein. The Jay-Z is one of those people who I said to have been there. Guys, so we move on. I said I just want to do everything under under an hour. Oh man, yeah, we might be there. We're too close. 52. We've got 8 minutes to make sure that we're finished. So apparently, an email from Epstein regarding Trump told an unnamed person not to bring black girls. Apparently, that was Donald Trump. So Donald says, listen here, Mr. Epstein. Ne, I want girls, ne, but I don't want these girls to be black. You can bring any other color, but not black. This is how deep Donald Trump is on this thing, in so much that man, why would you beef our boy? Why would you beef Trevor Noah? And the biggest thing for me, as far as this story is concerned, is you are policing ICE. You are policing the world. You are policing Venezuela. You are policing China. You are policing Russia. You are policing everybody. And now comedians can't be comedians. I can't speak my nonsense because everybody knows sometimes I be serious about stuff, but infused in there will be truth or sparking up conversation. what people could be talking about. And here you are, you're going to tell us, I don't know who that Trevor Noah is, but whoever he is, it's a good thing. Their ratings are down. I don't want him in the United States of America. I'm going to sue him. I'm going to make sure that I sue this Trevor Noah and make sure that he goes back to wherever he comes from. Dude, get a life. Get a life. Deal with the fact that with the whole AGOA thing, here's what you did not notice. As South Africa, as this person who was supposed to be treating you like you doing us a favor, by the whole AGOA thing, you were getting cheap labor from us, calling it aid. But guess what? When you took AGOA away from us, what did we do? We said, hey, John Steenhuisen, why don't you take a couple of ANC brothers and go to China? And that's what they did. And they came back and China said, hey, South Africa, how can we do this? These guys went to Brazil and said, hey, Brazil, what are you looking for? So you did not think that South Africa would get to a point where they are not going down and kneeling on their knees for you to give us aid. Because whatever we manufacture for you, boss. Cheap labor that you're getting from our country. But anyway, that's not the point. You crapping on Trevor Noah? How petty can you be? Let's talk about the movie that Amazon spent like almost 70 million US dollars from the 40 million initially to shoot the whole thing and to give your wife rights to produce and all kinds of stuff. It's a flop. We don't want to watch that in South Africa. We've got better things to do. We're fixing our country. We're making sure that racists are leaving. But I see now in a couple of cases, you are bringing some back. It's like, this one was charged for DIU. This one was charged for like thingy. Take them. We don't want them. We are rebuilding our country. Anyway, let's move on. You know me, I go on, guys. I think that was the last story. But anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with us this evening. Please make sure that you share, especially on TikTok, because we want to be on TikTok and make sure, because a lot of people are on TikTok. So we want to make sure that we do broadcast the podcast live on TikTok as well. That you can do by following us on TikTok at the Slyso TV podcast and join the conversations. Surprisingly for me, you would think that you would go on Twitter, you would go on Facebook, you would go on Instagram and have these conversations that debate stuff where people are airing their views and stuff. It happened to be on TikTok where we got a very interesting feedback from people. So we say thank you very much for that. From me, myself, and I, Slyso, you will be seeing me again next week on Monday together with the entire team. We took time off, this Monday to make sure that they get a break, and I also afford you guys an opportunity for us to learn and be constructive. With that, I want to say thank you so much. It was a wonderful one. There are lots. Oh, Kaizer Chiefs fans. Again, I thought number 2 for a little while, and then the Pirates said, yeah, get away. But somebody was saying, because there's the whole name change of the home stadium, say Orlando Pirates, it's now Orlando Amstel Arena. That's what it's called. Crazy numbers they pulled in there. I think when I look at the economy, I think like we are getting somewhere as a country in terms of getting back to marketing events, getting back to being outside more as South Africans. We are such an angry group of people. And we have good reason for it. But I think just take some time, go watch some soccer, play your games and all of that. It was a pleasure, ladies and gents. South Africa, I love you. 2026 is the year that we take back and we bring back Ubuntu Betu. And we say out loud what we are not happy about. No longer do we need to be scared to say that in the banner, like, hey, Mr. Politician, you are effing up right there, Oh, it's election year as well. November is just around the corner. But anyway, I want to say thank you very much to feedback for Advocate Hilita. So well explained, Advocate. Good job. Nkosi Nabeta, Nkosi Nabeta. Yeah, for that comment. So thank you to my guest this evening, guys. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. It's a wrap. Or it's like, no, it's not cut. Can't be cut now. It's like, hold on.